My special guest this week is my girl Haydee from the Ladies Pitch podcast.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up? Thank you for being here. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So y'all, this has been a long time coming. We've been meaning to record for quite some time now. But here we are. We're set up. We got everything going. It's approaching the end of the year. And we want to talk about some things, right?
We sure do.
All right. So tell people a little bit about yourself, where you from, your podcast.
Well, I'm originally from the Bronx. I recently moved out here to Jersey a few months ago. So I'm psyched that we're having this friendship now. I know some people out here in Jersey now, but I'm an essential worker. I work in the ER in the hospital in the Bronx. I've been there for the past 7 years. And Alexi and I, we met at work and we started the podcast this year, March of this year. So we're newbies still, kind of, but
okay.
We love it. We love it so far. We love everyone that we've met and everyone that we've got to network with so far. So it's pretty dope.
So tell the people about the Ladies Pitch podcast.
So the Ladies Pitch podcast. So it's just basically just us giving our opinion as two women in their 30s. We're single. We're Latina. We're out here in this dating world, the dating pool, the cesspool, as some people might refer to it as. Yeah. So we're just basically giving our opinion, sharing our experiences with just life, with dating as women. We both don't have kids, so that's kind of like we're unicorns.
Me too.
Yeah, you as well. So we just, we share our stories, our craziness. Sometimes we get a little too crazy, but that's generally how we are. So she's the savage one, I'm the emotional one, so we balance each other out. So it works. It works out.
That sounds like some really good balance.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So I wanted to get into this quick little icebreaker type of thing that I like to call this or that. Just a couple random questions, and you let us know which one you prefer over the other, and then we'll get into the episode.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question I have for this or that is: do you prefer dark liquor or light liquor?
Dark liquor, preferably Hennessy. Yes.
That Henny. Something about women who drink Henny. I hear y'all a little bit different.
What do they say about us? What do they say?
They say y'all rob people.
Oh, wow. I get that. Listen, I get that just because I'm from the Bronx. I get that.
Okay, so you got the stigma regardless.
Regardless, I have the stigma, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stigmas attached to women who drink Henny. I personally don't like it myself, but.
There's some that say that, get aggressive. That's not, or violent. No, that's never been the case with me.
That's good.
Never, yeah.
All right, we're breaking barriers over here. So the next question for this or that is cold cereal or hot cereal?
Cold cereal.
Okay.
Cold cereal, yes.
I like cold cereal, but once in a while. But give me oatmeal. I can eat oatmeal all year round.
Really?
Yeah, cream of wheat, all of it.
Oh, I love cream of wheat. Yeah.
I love hot cereal.
I prefer the cold.
Okay. I don't know which one I prefer, but I like them both.
Yeah, I like them both too.
Okay. And so based off of your show and, knowing you as a person, some things I do know about you. The next one might throw a couple people off guard, but you just got to catch up on the Ladies Pitch podcast. Follow, subscribe, and get your tea from there. So would you prefer, for the last this or that question, would you prefer dating a man or dating a woman?
Okay. I don't discriminate. I've never officially dated a female. I've just had flings with them, but I'm open to it.
Okay.
I'm open to it. So I'm open to dating a female. So there's really no preference.
Okay.
I'm down with both.
Hey, y'all heard that? Okay,
yeah.
Shoot your shot. That's what's up. I feel you on that.
All
right. So Let's see. We're approaching the end of the year. This will actually be the last episode for 2020. So thank you for coming on. Closing out the year with a great person, a great guest, and I wanted to just talk about some year stuff, some 2020 things. The first one I wanted to discuss was what is the difference between being insecure and being naive?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's something I've been sitting on for a while, and that's it. I gotta bring it to the pod. Gotta bring it to the pod.
I think naive, I think insecurity is just based on self. Maybe self insecurities. Because you could be insecure about a lot of things, right? You can be insecure about yourself. You could be insecure about your relationships. So it all depends. I think naive, to me, is kind of like you're gullible, in a sense. You'll believe whatever is told to you without any real information or any real facts. Okay. I would say. Okay. That's actually a very good question.
Yeah, y'all. So we're gonna need y'all to tap into that conversation too. You know how I am. I'm very I'm the type that wants to, have feedback from the episode. So you definitely gotta let me know. What do you guys think about what's the difference between being insecure and naive? So for me to answer the question, I feel like a person who is insecure is kind of based off of experiences and things that have happened to cause them to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I feel like a person who's naive is just someone who's, I'm not going to say not being realistic, but I am saying that. Like, all the signs are there, and you know that if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, but you still choose to be like, you know what, this is a bird right here in front of me. So, and it's like, I feel like people who are naive consciously choose to be.
You think so?
Sometimes I do.
Let me put a spin on it. Do you think that sometimes you can be naive because of your insecurities?
Can you be naive because of your insecurities?
Right.
I think, I don't know. That's a good question too, but I don't know because I feel like, I don't know if that's a cause and effect type of situation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if, I don't know. That's a good one.
Yeah. Because at times, you can be insecure about certain things and someone else will kind of give you that reassurance, and you will believe what someone tells you. So you're kind of, you're easily influenced. That's what I think about when I think about a naive person. A person that can be easily influenced.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah. You can tell them anything and they'll believe it because they're insecure.
Right.
So they go hand in hand, I think.
Okay. I can see that.
Depending on how you look at it.
I can see that. Y'all tap into that too. Let us know what y'all think. Can you be naive and insecure simultaneously?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question.
Yeah, that's
definitely one that I'm gonna go and ask some other people and see how they feel about it.
Yeah, that's something that'll be Tuesday's live discussion if I remember. So editing, Danny will need to remember that's the discussion for Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good one. I'm interested in knowing what other people think about that. Because insecurities we all know, they hinder you from a lot of things in life,
Absolutely.
So, but I feel like being naive is not as, I'm not going to say aggressive, but I just feel like you can exist better with being naive. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's not the end of the world, but sometimes your insecurities kind of hold you back and make you because
stagnant. they make you second guess everything,
right?
Every decision, most of the time. So
right, absolutely.
You overthink and you second guess everything you do because of your insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, but
It does.
that's the reality of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what y'all think about that. Y'all sound off in the comments and all of that once it's live and posted and ready to go. That's an interesting one. That might actually need its own episode.
Nah,
like
I agree.
Part 2. That might need a part 2.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Let me ask you something really quickly. This is because of a discussion that I was having with a friend today. What do you think is the difference between, or if you think there is a difference between settling and adjusting?
Oh.
My friend told me she thinks adjusting is worse than settling.
No. I think settling is way worse than adjusting because, so you figure we're all adults. And if you plan on spending your life with someone else, there has to be a series of adjustments throughout life period. Not even in a relationship, but we are all constantly adjusting as people.
Mm-hmm.
Settling is something different because if you know this person comes with a certain type of baggage or something that you're not down with, yet you choose to ignore it and it's eating you up inside knowing that you can't stand this about the person. You know what I'm saying? Or this, you know that these are the ways of the person and they're not going to change, yet you continue to pursue them or, you know what I'm saying, have a relationship with them knowing that it goes against your values and the things that you want. Then it's like insanity. To me.
Well, the meaning of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
And allowing the same thing to happen. And
expecting different results. So
right.
So the reason why she asked that question is because what if the adjusting part is already after the relationship has progressed, and why do you feel like you have to adjust, let's say 10 years later? That's why I think she says the adjusting is worse than settling, because the adjustment should be done in the beginning once you're serious. Or do you think the adjustment takes place after some time?
I think the adjusting takes place throughout the duration of any type of relationship. That is not something that you can say, okay, life changes, circumstances changes. We're in a pandemic right now. Mm-hmm. So you can't tell me that the dynamic of a relationship in 2019 is not going to need to be adjusted in 2020.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's not something that you can figure out at the beginning stages of something. It's something that's constant.
So something is always going to occur in the relationship that's going to cause you to have to adjust.
Absolutely.
To the circumstances.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can see that.
And it doesn't even have to be serious. It could be
just minor adjustments.
It could be finances. It could be, I've developed an allergy for some type of food and I can't eat it anymore. You get what I'm saying? It could be anything.
We can't cook it anymore.
Exactly. That's an adjustment. That's not settling.
Mm-hmm.
It's adjusting to what's happening in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And just moving forward, and trying to get on one accord with the person you with. Settling is consciously knowing I can't stand this about a person, or the way this person washes up is not good enough for me, but yet I ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. And it's like, you don't like it, it's going to be that way forever. That's not something you can change if the person's not willing to change. That
yes is a true answer.
that one is situational, but I definitely think there's a big difference between both, and I think adjusting is constant.
Okay.
I don't think that's something you can figure out in the beginning of a relationship and then that just be it. We are all evolving as people always. So
that is true.
You agree?
Well, if you choose to evolve, some people stay stuck in the same
and then
mindset.
So then that becomes settling.
Then that's right. There we go. Then that becomes settling.
It's a thin line between the two, but there's definitely
I agree with you. It goes hand in hand.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. I told her I was actually gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up with someone and discuss on it, because she was so adamant about it, about the topic. So
I hope my explanation made sense to you guys since it's on this platform. And then if it doesn't, y'all can tell me that too. I'm with it. I don't care. We can talk about it. So moving on to the next thing, I was wondering, in 2020, have you picked up any interesting habits this year?
Interesting habits.
Yeah,
what
like
kind of habits?
Anything. Like
I say, what kind of habits you want to hear about? I mean,
I've had a friend tell me like masturbation was something that they.
There we go. So I was gonna say that, but I was just like,
Listen,
damn, can I say
you
that?
You can say whatever you want to say.
I mean, now that's always been a habit, but I think this year, because this year has been just so nothing much going on. There's a lot of dry spells in 2020. So I mean, me and my hand have become best friends.
You and your hand, okay.
Me and my hand.
I know somebody
the best of friends.
I know somebody got a name for their hand. You gave it a name yet?
Nah, she don't have a name yet. Have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
I love Game of Thrones.
All right, so remember she says this girl has no name?
Ooh,
there we go. Girl has no name.
I can dig it. I ain't mad at that.
Only if you're a Game of Thrones fan would you get that.
Right. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
All right, so moving on to the next thing I wanted to discuss. Yeah, well, actually, I don't even know if I answered the question.
Yeah.
The only thing that really changed for me in 2020 was actually the podcast, actually starting it and committing to it. Anything else, I mean, it's natural. Ain't too much change for me in 2020.
Well, same here. We went hard on the podcasting, and even through COVID, at the peak of COVID, like we were going in. Yeah. Even with the studio closed, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, and I don't know if you really know the story, but our studio was closed. So Lexi and I were like renting hotel rooms and recording out of with my laptop, and
that's dedication right there.
And just recording, and it was therapeutic to us. It still is. It still is very much therapeutic. So, yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. But yeah, so for me, no interesting habits. Ain't too much change. It is what it is. So moving on to the next topic, I wanted to know, what's your view on relationships? Just like overall. So that's one thing I continue to struggle with, and I say that a lot on my platform, is just relationships in general, whether it's a relationship where I'm intimate with someone or just a friendship. But I struggle a lot with maintaining relationships because I feel like they're most of the time very one-sided. And I'm the one putting in all the work.
Yeah.
And once I get to that point where I'm like, I'm tired and I'm not reaching out anymore and I'm not putting in the effort, then it's really no coming back for me. But some people, I have a friend of mine, he told me that why does it matter as long as somebody's reaching out? I said no.
And
it has to be reciprocated.
Is that a romantic relationship that you feel like? Or just a friendship as well?
I'm talking about strict friendships, period. Like not even like intimate, a spouse, none of that. I'm talking about relationships, period. Well, let me not say that. In a dating and exclusive relationship, I don't have that issue. I'm more so struggling with that with my friendships with people that I've known for years and, you know, are trying to like maintain my friendships with people that I consider my friends. It's a struggle. Not really in dating. The consistency is there because if you ain't consistent, then we ain't dating anyway. So not that, but just maintain, you know what I'm saying? Just your friends, the people you consider your friends.
So one of the things that I struggle with the most in my friendships, and there's only maybe like, I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. So for me to say you're a friend, that I take that to heart. Like,
I agree.
You're a friend, you know? So, I probably have, I want to say like 5 close friends. And one of the things that those close friends of mine do understand is the fact that I need my space. I'm not the type of friend that can talk with you every day.
Okay.
But I am the type of friend that when you need me, I'm there. Like, regardless of what time it is, like if I need to get out of my bed at 2 or 3 in the morning to come to you for whatever reason, like I'm there.
Okay.
I might not always be the consistent friend, but I'm most definitely the reliable. So, and I think a lot of friends that I have had have mistaken the fact that we're so close that I always have to be available to them. Because I'm free, I have to be available to you. And that's not the case. Like, I don't owe anyone my time.
Oh, absolutely.
If I give you my time, it's because I legitimately want to give you my time. You know what I'm saying? So people feel entitled.
Absolutely.
They feel entitled. Like, oh, you're off today. Oh, so then we need to hang out. Or we need, like, we don't have to.
Right.
I don't have to. You know what I'm saying? There's times that I legit like to be by myself in my house, like, and do absolutely nothing.
I can dig it. That makes sense.
And people think that you always need to be surrounded by people, and I just can't. Like, my battery goes to 0, and I need to just be away from people, you know? So, for the most part, that's one of the things that I have struggled with in friendships. And if you're a friend that understands that, like, I love it when people understand that about me, you know? Yeah.
So I think for me, I'm not the type that feels like people have to be with me and spend all their time and all of that. But what I'm saying, for me, my struggle is maintaining some level of friendship. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes people just automatically know, oh, well, Danny's going to hit me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to reach out to her.
So they don't have to do anything. They don't have to put any effort.
You should be reaching out to me saying, how are you doing and stuff like that.
Oh,
a lot of people dump a lot of stuff on me. And it's like, I don't mind it, but I'm also an empath. So
so am I.
If it's something that you're dealing with and it's bothering you, then I'm going to listen. If you ask me for my advice, I'm going to give it to you. But I take all of that in. I'm just, I'm that person.
You soak in everyone's
I soak it all in. And that's why I tell people I don't watch the news. I don't watch any of that stuff because all of that stuff really affects me.
Same.
So in terms of my friendship, I think people just expect me to be that person that just takes the initiative all the time, and that's corny. And I have a problem with that.
I mean, friendships work both ways.
Right.
Relationships in general work both ways.
I agree. And that's why the friend I was talking about, the guy friend, he wasn't talking about our situation. But he was saying to me, like, why... He think it's a female thing. He's like, well, why do women feel... And I know a guy friend of mine who feels the same way. He's always that one that reaches out and makes sure everybody's good, but don't nobody check for him and you know. And this guy friend I was talking to about it, he doesn't understand, although I broke it down to him in so many different ways, he can't understand why it matters if both parties are actively trying to reach out to each other. And I'm like, you sound crazy. He was like, why does it matter? He was dead serious. Like, it's no convincing him. He can't understand. I was like, yeah, me and you couldn't really be friends like that because...
Right.
He was like, but I don't know.
I'm that friend that even if we don't have a full-blown conversation, let's just say like twice a week, I'll make sure that I send a text like, hey, what's up?
At least check in.
At least check in and be like, hey, what's up? How are you? How's your week going?
Right.
You know, especially if I know a lot of people that suffer from like anxiety, depression, things like that. And I always make sure that I'm like, yo, you good? You know, because sometimes that's all it takes.
That's it.
That's all it takes for someone is like, how are you doing?
Right. Especially when they feel like nobody else is reaching out.
Exactly. So for the most part, that's the kind of friend I aim to be. And that's just in general, you know?
I agree. But yeah, I find that so interesting. And I told him, like, you need to come on the pod so we can discuss that because you crazy. I'm like, I can't. And obviously, I'm not the only one trying to explain the logic behind it because he posted a whole Instagram story about it. So I'm like, so obviously your friends are feeling the kind of way. You need to be more active. But I don't know, girl. I don't know.
One thing for sure that I have realized this year is that, and I was talking about this with a good friend of mine yesterday, is that you're not always going to get the same energy that you put out to people. And sometimes you do expect that. You expect for people to put in as much as you do. And it's not always going to be that way.
Nah, a lot of times it's not reciprocated.
Yeah, at all.
You got to meet people where they are. That's been my goal. That's been my mentality, even on a professional level, because I'm somebody who's most of my experiences in the mental health and behavioral health field. And that's one thing we strive on is meeting people where they are. How can we help you where you are right now in your life? Not where we trying to get you to go or where you want to be. What
Where
can
you
we
are
do right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I apply those same type of values to my friendships. So I think a lot of that has to do with is the reason why I'm the consistent one too. Because I just want to make sure that, you know, I'm present and I'm checking in and doing my part as a friend. But, you know, like I said, everybody don't feel that way and can't expect them to. But then once you start pulling back and protecting your own peace and stuff, then all of a sudden people think you acting funny. And it's like, listen,
girl,
I'm just doing what's best for me, finally.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't understand that,
yeah, I totally agree with you. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely a good one. And so I want to know, like, how can you sum up 2020 overall? Like, I asked a friend that the other day, and I was like, you know, how can if you had to put your 2020 in a couple words or one word, what would you say? And then he just kind of broke it down to me, and he told me some dope stuff. Like, so I want to know for you, like, how would you sum up 2020 for you?
For me, I would say that, and this is just because the field that I work in and just seeing how people just here literally gone the next minute. So I think for me is don't take anyone or anything for granted.
Absolutely.
For sure. And when I tell you that I legit would see a person 1 minute and the person code and within 5 minutes, and coding in the medical field means flatline. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and seeing families suffer due to this whole pandemic and losing a loved one. I actually know someone that lost 3 people in their family.
Wow.
3 people within a span of like 3 months. So I would say that definitely one thing I've learned this year is don't take anything or anyone for granted. If you're holding grudges, if you're mad at someone for something that's probably so minor, mm-hmm. patch it up. Patch it up if you can, and you know, just let it go. Life is really too short, and I think that sounds really cliche.
But no, this
it
year
sounds
has
really cliche.
The truth behind that.
No, yeah, it has, and just. You know what, Danny, to be honest, just working in the field that I'm working in for the past 7 years, mm-hmm. every like, I want to say like every day or like at least twice a month, I tend to forget, mm-hmm. but then I'm brought back to reality. Like, listen, life is really short. Absolutely. It really is. And you never know what can happen, you know?
Absolutely.
To you or to the next person. So.
And, absolutely. And just like, you know, you and I had a conversation with my friend Audrey. Shout out to Audrey. Hey, girl. You know, before we went live and, you know, before we started the recording, you know, she was kind of saying the same thing. Like, you just got to.
Yeah, she was.
You got to do. You got to say and do and get clarity on things that you're uncertain about because mm-hmm. you never know.
Right.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it's the same thing. It's just like I'm trying to be more of the person that just does all of the things that I want to do. Mm-hmm. Even if I got to bring my anxiety and panic attacks and everything along with me, we just going to do it together. But I'm going to find a way to get it done because I'm holding myself back from a lot of things and I'm missing out on a lot of things. And I'm realizing that. And it's like, I just gotta push through it. Mm-hmm. Gotta push through it because you never know. I don't want to have those type of regrets.
Yeah.
I don't want to have those type of regrets.
I think a lot of people don't think about that. You don't think that you will live with regrets after making, mm-hmm. you know, a decision that you probably think was the best decision at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm a person that I live with a lot of regrets because I either didn't say something, I didn't do something that I should have done.
Me too.
For whatever reason, whether it was pride, because I can sometimes be very prideful. Mm-hmm. So you know, and I have to live with those regrets. So I'm trying to work on that and change that up. But yeah, every day is a learning.
Absolutely.
It's a learning experience.
Yep. And I've learned a lot. One thing I've learned in 2020 is to not take things so seriously in terms of how others treat me too. That was a big thing for me. I'm somebody who's I overthink everything. Everybody who knows that, if you listen to the pod, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somebody who overthinks everything.
Same.
So I'm learning to kind of read a situation and realize, like, look, this might not even be about you. This person is acting this way, but it most 9 times out of 10 it has nothing to do with you. It's something that they're dealing with and going through.
Mm-hmm.
And once I've started to adapt that, or adopt that type of mentality, my life has been so much more, I'm not going to say clearer, but things have been a lot more clear for me. I've been a lot more patient with people, and I've been a lot more understanding, because I'm also the type, like, I don't hold grudges, but I'm also the type, like,
I do.
I'm not a grudge holder. I'm very, like,
I am.
I try to give people I've given people the benefit of the doubt a lot more this year than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you actually get back in touch with that person, I'll be like, see, thank God you didn't react the way you thought you needed to, because this person is actually really going through some stuff. Like,
and it's not about you.
It ain't got nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell myself that a lot of times. I just sit here and like, this ain't about you.
Okay, so now let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. At what point, just going back to the beginning of the conversation with insecurities, mm-hmm. how do you know sometimes when it's just something, when it's your insecurities talking, and this is something that I deal with, mm-hmm. when it's your insecurities and when it's something that it's a red flag, basically. Because sometimes I don't know how to sometimes distinguish if something mm-hmm. is a red flag or it's just my insecurities.
That's a good question. I feel like...
And that's something that I struggle with. That's a real thing. Because then I'm like, okay, is this a red flag or is mm-hmm. this just my trust issues? Because my trust issues is in general with people. Mm-hmm. So overall.
I guess with a situation like that, it's kind of a pattern. You have to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, that's something you take a mental note of, okay? Accept it for what it is. But if you see it happen again, you know what I'm saying? Or if it continues, mm-hmm. then you can tell the difference. Okay, that's a red flag. That's something I need to pay more attention to. But if it was like an incident or something that occurred one time, most likely it's just like, all right, I'm being insecure about the situation and I probably need to just chill out.
Right, but then this is where the overthinking comes into play, because then you start overthinking it. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, like you said, is this something that the person is just going through? And they're just displaying this mm-hmm. type of behavior consistently because they're going through something right. and not necessarily speaking to me about it, or it's just...
I have a friend that I met this year. I have a friend that I met this year. Mother, I know only half my face is in here. We just giving a sneak peek. I know. Ain't nothing crazy.
Hi, Mom.
What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for checking in, by the way. So for me, I feel like I have a friend that I met this year, and one thing I liked about him was he's always been honest with me from the beginning. So I explained, like, these are the things that I look for. Even, is there some attraction, or was there some attraction in terms of, could this be more? Let's, mm-hmm. I would be open to it. I would, we went through that point, but we've also decided that regardless, the qualities that you possess and the qualities that I possess are something that we're both, we want to, as a friend first. Mm-hmm. So once we got that out the way,
okay,
I understood, because he would go like, we would talk for a while, and then all of a sudden we wouldn't talk for days and then weeks and all of that. And one thing I can say, he was always upfront. So there weren't any red flags, because he made it clear, like, I'm going through stuff. It's nothing personal towards you. I understand the type of friendship that you like and you want, but I don't think I can be that type of friend for you right now.
Oh, but he was
and I
very
thought that was
transparent.
Dope. That's one thing that attracted me to him from the beginning is his honesty.
Okay.
So I feel like in situations like that, it's no real room or reason for me to overthink anything, because it's like, all right, unless you're naive or insane, this man is telling you, I can't give you the type of friendship you want right now, but that doesn't mean that, we can't communicate or have some level of friendship when we can, or when it's convenient for us both.
But there's one thing they say about overthinkers. Overthinkers need to date great communicators.
I agree.
So that's probably why you don't overthink it, because he's a great communicator. Now, if you're an overthinker and you're dating someone that doesn't know how to communicate,
it's not going to work.
That's it.
I dealt with that.
That's it for that. Like,
yeah. It's a struggle. That is a struggle for somebody like me and you, I'm assuming too. Like, if you don't communicate with me, my mind be all over the place. I just be thinking about anything.
Right.
Well, thank you, Mommy. Let the people know. Y'all heard that? She said I'm getting better.
Aww.
But yeah. So I always respected that about him. And I think that's pretty dope. Now, if it was somebody who wasn't as, open, I just couldn't do it. I had to fall back and be like, listen, this ain't my speed. So when you are ready to talk to me about it, or,
right,
we'll proceed from there. But one thing in the latter part of this year, I've been meeting some real solid people who are just keeping it 100 and being honest and like just saying how it is. Like, ain't no lying about the unnecessary stuff.
Right.
Communication is everything.
Oh, absolutely, Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Communication is everything. And like I said, that's in any type of relationship. It doesn't have to be just that's just I overthink everything, just even at work, just everything in general. At work, I think I'm worse. Mm-hmm. So shout out to our homeboy Chillin' with Juice podcast. He asked a question, and the question was, is there a such thing as an underthinker? What do you think?
A person that doesn't think at all.
A person that doesn't think enough about
enough, right? A person doesn't care enough to think about the situation.
Do you think, is that a thing?
Yes, I think that is a thing. Okay. When you don't care enough to think about something, maybe it's not a priority to you, so you're not thinking enough about it. So you're just like, it is what it is.
I feel like that's a sort of detachment. Definitely.
Yeah, of course. Could be.
I definitely think so. Mm-hmm. And I mean,
what would be his definition? Too. Those who use lazy logic to justify things with layers. Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay, one take. One take with the gems. You already know.
Dropping the gems per usual.
That's
the perfect definition.
Right.
Perfect. Like, it gets no better than that.
Mm-hmm. He's always dropping gems, man.
See, me personally, I couldn't build a relationship with someone like that, because I would be struggling every day trying to figure out what you think, what you feel. Mm-hmm. Nah.
But I think that, do you think there you go, one take with the gems. I think sometimes a bad communicator just doesn't want to communicate certain things because it puts them in a vulnerable state. And a lot of people don't like to be vulnerable.
That's true. So
they don't like to be transparent because, and this is just from what I've heard from my experience from people, a lot of people that I've just spoken to in conversation, they never want to give people ammo to use against them later on if things fall apart. I've
been that person. But I've also realized that at some point, if you want more out of life and out of relationships and friendships and meaningful, something that's solid with somebody, you got to change the narrative of, you got to change that thinking. Mm-hmm. Because you're just going to be struggling all your life. At some point, I feel like somebody's going to come along and make you feel like you want to do better, or you want to open up. And if not, then, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, believe it or not, that's something that let's just say a person is 40 years old That's, let's just say 30 years.
That's a lot
that you
of
have
time
to change
yeah.
of the way you think and perceive things. And that's very difficult.
But you know what? At that point, if you're looking to get better, you need to go sit on somebody's couch and discuss some things.
Yeah.
And get some help for that, because
for sure.
You need to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was a great one. Moving on to the next one. This is actually the last question that I have, and from here we can just kind of whatever you want to discuss. If there's anything you want to say, I want to know, what are your plans for the new year, 2021? Like, what do you see?
2021. I have a few goals that I want to be able to attain.
Without, because I know some things like that are personal to people.
Yeah. I'm just keeping
something
it. I'm
that
being
you're
very
willing
vague.
to discuss and let us know about. Give us something like on the surface, nothing too heavy.
I'll just keep it simple. Hopefully, COVID will allow me to travel more.
Okay.
I miss traveling so much.
Okay.
I want to be able to travel more. I love to meet new people while I'm on vacation.
Okay. Now, are you a person who solo travels?
I've only solo traveled once. And I want to say solo travel because I didn't bring anyone from my friends or family with me to travel. So I met with someone that was at the destination that I went to.
Okay.
So, but I was there by myself. I traveled by myself. I was there for a week. So it was dope. I would do. I actually, don't judge me. I actually want to go to Thailand by myself.
I think that's amazing. If you have the balls to do it.
I do. My mom is threatening me that if I do it, she's going to disown me. She want me to go to Thailand by myself. That's
far. That's a flight.
And I only want to go because I want to go to a tiger. They have this thing called, it's something tiger, where they have like grown tigers and you could pet them and take pictures of them.
So now let me ask you, is it because nobody else, you're not really, or is it just, I want to do this by myself? Or is it like, if somebody came along that wanted to go, would you let them go with you?
Nah, there was somebody that wanted to come with me. Of course, I would go. But to go to Thailand, most of the people that I would want to travel with, they're like, no, I'm not going to Thailand.
That's a flight.
I think you have a question.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the question in a minute, y'all. I just wanted to wrap up this last question for my episode that I had. Now, for me, so it's funny, but my mother can attest to this. I know she's watching, I'm sure, listening. Every year, my goal is to travel, like literally get on an airplane and go somewhere. I'm terrified of flying. I hate flying.
Yeah.
I will get on a cruise. I will go on a boat. I'll get on a cruise. I'll do that stuff. But to get on an airplane...
I just asked you this question last night, too. And you told me the same thing.
I do not fly, y'all. And every year when I set my intentions for the new year, I always say, I'm going to get on a flight. This will be my year I fly. And I'll be like, nope.
You have to overcome that fear. The first time you do it, trust me.
I've flown before. I'm not somebody who's never been on an airplane.
But has it been a long time?
My last flight was in 2014.
Okay, so it's been a minute.
Take a sleeping pill. It don't be that easy.
Melatonin.
I'm telling y'all, because so the way my mind works, and I'm like, everybody like smoke a little something, drink a little something. I'll be the one that get the flight that's delayed, and then it wear off, and then I'm sitting there like, all right, now what? My mother tell you my last flight, literally palms was sweating. I mean, anxiety before I was getting on the flight. I text her like...
But I get the same way, though.
Everybody says that, but still it's something about you or something in you that says, I'm just going to do it. I am not at that point where I'm like, I'm just going to do it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if it's because I haven't actually booked a flight. I feel like once I really put my money down and they say it's like... non-refundable, then I'll be like, all right, going back. I don't have a choice. I'm not about to lose out on however many hundreds of dollars. And I feel like that comes with being with a spouse too. Yeah, like I'm seeing people talking about they've had panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I know people do a little extra stuff to fly, but for me, I think it's worse because I won't even consider. But I don't know, like. I'll literally be on the flight, and I'm one of those that I can't sleep.
Unless the flight is smooth. If the flight is smooth as hell, I can probably take like a little cat nap. But if not, the entire time, I'm like, my palms are sweaty. I'm over here thinking, if any little turbulence, I'm over here thinking like, oh my God, this is the end. I'm getting my text messages ready. Like, I'm that person.
But you still find a way to do it.
I still find, but believe me, Danny, I'm having anxiety the entire, I have suffered from anxiety, period. So the entire time I'm having anxiety. If it's a smooth flight, I'm good money. But I'm telling you, the minute there was a flight that I was on, let me just give you a quick little story time, real quick.
I'm nervous.
I was on a flight back from Vegas. So if anyone has ever traveled to Vegas, let's say from New York, that flight is about 6 hours because of the time difference, I guess. So flying to Las Vegas is about 6 hours, whatever. Coming back, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the plane quickly descended, like just dropped.
Girl, I would have passed out.
Okay, just dropped, and then it ascended to the point that there was another passenger on the other side, the row of seats, that he was grabbing onto the seat in front of him. He was like, oh my God, no, I don't want to die. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, my fingernails are digging into his arm. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, and you know what the pilot's gonna go and say? You ready for this one? The pilot was like, oh, I'm sorry, folks. I just got too close to the plane ahead of us. I was so tight. I'm like, why would you even say that? Why would you tell the passengers that? Like, and I'm talking about the plane went down and then just ascended quickly.
That would have been the day that I got taken out of this world.
But that was the only... like,
ain't no coming back.
That would have been my last day on earth.
That would have been it. Listen,
girl, when I
people
tell
talk
you...
about, oh, hell no. Listen, y'all. R.I.P. to me.
That poor guy, he was by himself. The lady that was next to him, she kind of had to like rub his back and soothe him like a baby, because he was like, oh my God, no. And I'm like, he made it worse for me.
I bet.
He made it worse for me. And I'm looking at him like, sir.
Listen, y'all. Listen.
But and I've flown plenty of times. So that's the only bad experience I've ever had with flying.
I don't even know what to say, because
my story definitely didn't make it any better. I'm sorry, Danny.
No, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Something about being off the ground is just like I don't know. I don't know.
So is your fear of heights, or it's just flying?
Hey, Mom, listen. At least my feet close enough to the ground. He be chilling when he with me. He don't be that crazy when he got his cousin in the car. I don't even know if he in there. That's funny. Yeah, but when it comes to flying, I feel like once I'm with somebody who makes me feel comfortable enough to do it, I'll be like, all right.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you get on like roller coasters?
No.
Okay, so you won't go to, like, let's say the Empire State Building, and you won't look over. So your fear is heights.
I get what's the daggone word for it? What is it called? What's it called? Oh my God, why can't I think of this word? Even like sitting in the stands in the bleachers at a game, if I'm at the top, I start to feel
okay, so I'm the same way.
What is this a word for? I don't know why I can't think of it right now.
I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna say I can't go on a fire escape.
Nah, I'm not doing it. Yeah.
I can't go on fire escapes. I'll go and try to look bold. One time I was trying to be bold. One time with a friend of mine when I was young in my teenage years. And, we went to the fire escape to smoke weed. And I was trying to be cute because there was like two other guys there. Vertigo.
I have vertigo.
Oh.
I have vertigo. It's bad. And my mother's sitting here. She's saying, like, I missed out on a lot of vacations. I'll be like, have fun. I'll watch the dogs, the pets. I'm not going.
I'll be the dog sitter, but I'm not doing it.
I'm not going. Because, like, especially if, like, my mom do a lot of cruises and stuff. If that cruise is not leaving from New York City, Danny ain't going.
But yeah,
send me a postcard.
I caught a panic attack like that being on a fire escape, and it didn't help the fact that I was.
That's what it is.
The fact that I was smoking and I caught like a major panic attack. Like
yeah, I don't
just being on the fire escape.
Nothing high up, no roller coasters. I don't even like amusement parks. I don't like organized fun like that. Don't judge me.
You're
judge me if you want to. I do not like organized fun like that. Like I have to come here to have a good time. No.
Okay, I got you.
I'm not that person. But yeah, I definitely have vertigo. What's your take on someone you're involved with gives you vague details when they go out? You can answer that one first.
Ooh, on someone you're involved with, a relationship, vague details. Okay, what kind of details do you need aside from? I'm not even being funny when I say this. This is a legit question. Like, what other details do you need aside from the fact that I'm going out, who I'm gonna be with, and where I'm gonna be? I mean, I honestly, I feel
that you feel like you don't need a whole synopsis of this person's night. I agree.
Right, yeah.
I think answer first and then I answer.
Yeah,
Shout out to Ryan from Adventures with Pictures podcast.
Yeah, I think where I'm going, I think that's not just because you're being nosy, but that's for safety reasons. Something were to happen, you need to be able to know your significant other. Where were you? You know, who I'm gonna be with, and yeah, where I'm going. That's it.
Same.
I mean, what other details is there to know?
Yeah, but I'm sure he's probably saying that to say because some women are like, okay,
I'm going out.
Where you going? Who you with? What time you coming back? The checking mileage on cars. Who knows? Like women be out here doing the most. I ain't that girl.
One thing I don't like is the question of when you're coming back, what time you're coming back. I can't tell you because a lot of things can take place.
I only ask that if you're coming to me afterwards. You get what I'm saying? Like if I'm expecting you and you tell me a certain time and then something deviates from that plan, just give me a heads up.
Okay, I can see that.
But other than that, I don't really care about all of that extra stuff as long as you are safe and somebody knows like where you are and you know. Right. I'm not tripping like that. I ain't that girl. I don't be caring that much, to be honest.
I don't be caring that. So you're underthinking that.
I'm not going to underthink it, but as long as you're safe and having fun and doing what you got to do.
No, you have those females that'll be like, where you going and who you going to be with. Send me your location.
Yeah, I don't be caring
that one kills me. No. Send me your location. What time you coming back? What who's going to be there? As far as deep details, that's just a bit much.
Yeah, no, I'm not that person. As long as you're safe, having a good time, and if you with somebody that I could contact if I needed to,
exactly,
I'm cool.
Yeah,
have a good night.
That's fine. Have fun.
I don't need to know everything you're doing from the start of your day to the beginning. We're all people. We are all individuals. So ain't no ties like that.
And if you're my significant other, I would, expect that. I don't have to tell you what to do, or I expect that you
already know
the right thing to do. Right, exactly.
Where you are and who you with. Absolutely.
Yeah, those are things that need to be established before you decide that someone is fit to be your partner, for sure.
Right. And then if you have somebody who's not a communicator, and that's the whole thing. That's the difference between settling
and adjusting.
That's something for instance, in my last relationship with my ex, well, I ain't even going to use that. I'm going to rephrase that. I've been in a relationship with a person who was single for a while. And then when you get in a relationship, of course, you have to kind of consider another person again. So that's something that you're adjusting to. That's an adjustment.
Yes.
Checking in and realizing that, okay, now I have somebody who's going to be concerned or wants to at least know that I'm okay at the very least when I go out and do things.
And the longer, when you start talking with someone dating, the longer they've been single or you've been single, the harder it is to get them to adjust and compromise to what you need, But because compromising goes both ways. It doesn't just go with what you want and what you need. You need to be able to provide what the other person wants and the other person needs as well.
Yeah.
So the longer you've been single and been at peace, the harder it's going to be.
Right.
to make those adjustments. So.
And it's true. Shout out to Star. Hey, Star. She said,
Hi, Star Boo.
Guys don't ever know what they're doing anyway. And it's funny because let me tell you, I never watched the Kevin Hart special until a couple weeks ago.
The new one? His house?
Yeah, he's not really my speed. I
didn't see it.
So what he was saying was, and it's funny because the person I was watching it with is a good friend of mine who I've known for years and years and years, one of my closest friends. And Kevin Hart was saying something along the lines of like, guys don't be knowing. We just say we're going to meet up and then hope somebody else like makes a plan. So when they all meet up at this central location and nobody actually decided what we're going to do from here, they're like, man, I'm going home.
As far as like plans?
It's funny because guys don't really, they just like, they don't really make plans like women. Like we're going to say, oh, we going this and this, we going at this time and all that. Guys be like, all right, y'all want to hang out? All right, I'll be at the bar. Whoever come. So when a woman asks a guy, like, oh, where you going? Who you going to be with? They be like, I don't know. Whoever show up. Women take that as like, you lying. But the truth really be like, I don't know. Like
it might be, especially if you don't go out that much.
And it's funny
it could be one of those things.
My friend that I was watching it with, he is that way. Like, he be like, you know, I text the homies in the group chat and said, look, I'm going to the Scar Lounge. And whoever pull up, they just pull up.
I can agree with that.
But women take that as something different. Like, oh, you lying. You went to go meet another girl. I'm like, no, I was really with the homies. We just ain't had nothing planned, so we all went home.
No, I can agree with that because some of the best nights I've ever had were nights that were not planned. They were spontaneous.
Random spots.
So we decided to just go to one spot, and while being at that spot, we run into someone else we know at the same spot. And then we decide we want to go to this other spot, and that was not plans and end up having the best night ever. So I can agree with him when he says that. So
guys do that a lot. They definitely do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's see. I think I've pretty much covered, like, I just wanted to recap 2020. Like, anything else you want the people to know or anything else you want to share about the year? Yeah. Anything else?
No, there's nothing else really. I mean, just make sure you guys tune in and catch up with Ladies Pitch and our shenanigans. Sometimes we have funny conversations. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have deep conversations. Sometimes we talk a whole lot of BS, but it's our BS. So you should definitely check us out. And, you know, we'll be back next year, sometime in January. Okay. Some new stuff, new things that we're cooking up.
So let the people know how to find you, where to go to listen to your podcast and all of that stuff.
Well, you guys can follow us on Instagram, Ladies Pitch. Our Twitter, we have our handle is Pitch718. We have email, ladiespitch718@gmail.com. You guys can email us feedback, stories, suggestions. We're open to positive and negative feedback. Our podcast is on Apple, Spotify, all streaming platforms. You can look for us, Ladies Pitch. Lexi and myself. Haydee baby.
That's right. Shout out to Lexi. Hey, girl.
Hi, Lexi boo.
But yeah, so again, you know, we cool, we dope. This one thing about this year, I've gotten to really meet some real solid people. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's dope. And you already know how we do in the group chat and all that. If you don't know, mind your business.
If you know, you know. If you don't,
you know.
It's not meant for you to know.
So we live out here. But yes, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. It's been fun.
Oh, Danny, thank you for having me. I've literally been with you the past 3 days.
Word, y'all, we've been rocking out since Christmas.
Since Christmas, we've been going at it, Danny and I.
That's how it go when you live. Y'all, you doing your own thing. You ain't got no ties.
No kids. You can just get up and go.
You just do what you want to do. We just been kicking it, drinking, thinking.
Talking.
And whatever happens, happens.
It's like we've known each other forever.
And I appreciate relationships like that. They're dope.
Yeah, likewise. So do I.
But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. This will be the final episode of the year. Yeah. So make sure you definitely show this some love. Tap into the conversation. Follow me on YouTube, Tall Girl Tuesday, the podcast. And shop that Tall Girl Tuesday merch. Okay? This is the holiday time. Support your girl. Get some gear. Check it out. We got something for the pets. your man, your woman, everybody. We got phone cases, everything. Just check it out. And as always, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.